What's up, everyone? This is episode 84. Welcome to Talk Wrestling. Thank you all again for watching last week and the week before and the week before and every other week we've been on for the last 2.5 years almost. 9,500 subscribers and counting. Thank you all for letting your friends know we're here, letting your family know we're here, letting everybody else you don't like or like know you're here. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. A little bit different format this week. We didn't have any VRQs to go over because, well, we kind of went through them all. The ones that we actually liked and we could read and see and, listen to and everything. Read, God. See and hear and listen to. I'm so tired. I'm so sorry, you guys. So we have a book review this week. A book and a DVD review this week. So we'll get to that in just a little while. For right now, let's start with your questions. This one is from Clinton P. What is your favorite and least favorite match ever? And my least favorite can include John Cena. Damn it. My least favorite match. I mentioned this match last week, and I'm sorry, I'm going to go against your thing here, but my least favorite match is JBL versus John Cena, and only because it was a World Championship match, WWE titles on the line. They both should have done way better. I'm sorry. That match has no credibility in my eyes. It was a WrestleMania main event, and it was terrible. My favorite match ever is a match I saw at PWG in 2005, I believe it was. I believe we were all there, Aaron. I could be wrong. An hour-long draw, title for title, PWG World Championship versus TNA X Division Championship, PWG Champion AJ Styles versus TNA Champion Christopher Daniels. They went an hour. They tore the house down, which was scary because the PWG Sweatbox was, a small house, and if they tore the house down, we all would have died. A little bitty gym. Great match. Phenomenal, no pun intended match. That's my favorite match I've ever seen live. Favorite match of mine, period. Close second is the match we saw in Florida, Mike, Aaron, and I, between Triple X and America's Most Wanted, where Elix Skipper did the infamous tightrope walk along the top of the cage, and Hurricane Ronald Harris. I want to say Harris, but maybe even Storm. I could be wrong. I don't remember now. Austin Ticknor, his question is, I'm sure you already know about Mick Foley's 3 different characters, Mankind, Cactus Jack, and Dude Love. Which one do you think has had the greatest impact on WWE at any one time, and why? Mankind. Mankind was his greatest character in WWE. Mankind had the biggest impact on his career in WWE. Mankind is what brought him into the stratosphere. Yes, Cactus is the one that got him hired by Vince McMahon, but it was the Mankind character they developed that truly showcased Mick Foley and truly allowed him to break out into the, again I say the word stratosphere, it's a popular word, but it is what it is. Allowed him to break free of the the monotony of Cactus Jack, and allowed him to delve deeper into his psyche, if you will, and allowed him to really, shine. Mankind was by far his greatest character. Dude Love was an afterthought. Dude Love was, hey, he had this thing in his childhood, let's go ahead and give him a character, let him run for a while, and it was fun, but Dude Love was a comedy character, nothing more, to be honest. This one comes from the email psychocmenace@AOL.com. I heard the WWE relaunched ECW and brought back the ECW title. They were also going to bring back the ECW Tag Championship and make La Resistance the champions, but the plan was dropped because of Rene Dupree's release. Because the new ECW roster is rising, do you think WWE will bring back the TV title or the tag team title or both? Honestly, what they should do, I still say this. If they're going to bring back a secondary title to ECW, it should be the Hardcore title. That way they can have the ECW Hardcore Wrestling back on ECW. As far as the tag titles, I don't think there's enough tag teams to go around, and honestly, they have a WWE Unified Tag title for a reason. They don't want more than one tag team title holder, tag team championship team in WWE. Alright, Daniel Brewster asks, since it's getting close to the end of the decade, I was wondering who you think is the wrestler of the decade. Damn. Hard to argue against two different guys. I'll tell you who they are. TNA-wise, AJ Styles. He's been their MVP since the beginning of the decade, really, 2002. AJ's been TNA's, mainstay. WWE-wise, I hate to say it, I loathe saying this, but John Cena. John Cena's been their go-to guy for the last 4 years. He's brought WWE back into the mainstream where nobody else did. Since the days of Stone Cold Steve Austin in the late 90s and early part of this decade, the 2000s, John Cena's been their guy. I don't think it's going to be possible to, it's hard to encapsulate how much John Cena has truly meant to WWE, and I think he's their wrestler of the decade. Between the two, I gotta go John Cena. I hate that, I do, but he's been the mainstream celebrity of wrestling, and he's been the face of WWE for the better part of this decade, and WWE is the face of wrestling. They are. It's just the way it is. So if I had to pick one wrestler of the decade, it'd have to be John Cena. Alright, this one comes from Angelo Lorquette. I believe I said that right. Lorquette, maybe? Lorquet. Just wondering if you think that Christian will be moved to the main event picture when he moves to Smackdown, hopefully, or Raw. I believe he is single-handedly keeping ECW afloat right now, and he deserves better. I'm tired of seeing Christian versus Dreamer or Christian and Dreamer versus some tag team. Thanks for reading my question. I've been wanting to address this for a while, and I'm glad somebody brought up Christian on their own instead of me having to just bring it up out of the blue. Christian is single-handedly keeping ECW afloat. You guys are absolutely right. Christian has been the champion. He's been the cornerstone of ECW for the better part of this year, ever since he beat Jack Swagger for the title earlier in the year. Christian does deserve better. Christian has proven he can be a main event player. He was a huge star in WWE when he left to go to TNA. He'd never been world champion, but he was still in the higher echelon of the superstars of WWE. And then he goes to TNA and becomes world champion twice. The NWA world champion. He was the last NWA world champion in TNA. That doesn't say bad on Christian. It says bad on the TNA agreeing with the NWA properly. Christian was a world champion twice in that company because TNA felt he was the right guy for the job. Simple as that. And WWE should be giving him much better than what he is getting. And I think it's a shame, crying shame, that Christian has not been world champion yet. Yes, the ECW is a world title in my opinion, but in most of your guys' opinion and in WWE's opinion, the ECW title is a secondary title. So, he should be on one of the other two shows and being a world champion. That's my opinion. Hopefully it's yours. Eric Mazet, M-A-Z-Z-E-I. Sorry, Eric, your last name's killing me. I apologize. My question is, what do you think of wrestlers holding multiple titles at the same time? For example, Kurt Angle being the Eurocontinental Champion back in 2000 and Chris Benoit holding the World and the World Tag Team in 2004. I think the angle makes sense. It's okay. The way WWE did it late 99 and 2000 with Kurt Angle was great, which led to WrestleMania 2000 and the two-fall triple threat match with Jericho and Benoit, which was a great match. But to put a second title on someone for no real reason, like with Benoit in 2004, makes no sense to me. Also, do you think it diminishes a title when this happens? Keep up the good work. I mentioned last week, titles don't mean squat anymore. They're props used for, furthering storylines. The titles don't mean what they did back when Bruno held it or when, Hogan had it or when Flair had the NWA Championship. They're just meaningless toys now. But I will agree with you on the furthering of the Eurocontinental Championships, the Intercontinental and European Championships with Kurt Angle in early 2000, which led to the tremendous match with Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 2000 that Kurt Angle was involved in, the two-fall triple threat match. Great match. I was there for that. Good stuff. I agree with that going well. As far as the whole Chris Benoit holding two championships in 2004 thing, I think they did that to further Benoit's push. It wasn't a matter of meaningless title, a meaningless title reign. It was a matter of Chris Benoit was the go-to guy. They wanted to, showcase Chris Benoit as much as possible. It was his year. 2004 was his best year. And they wanted to show him off as much as possible. So, hey, give him another title. What the hell? it wasn't so meaningless. You know, he held the championship twice that year as World Tag Team Champion with Edge both times. The second time was very interesting. For those of you that remember, Benoit was champion with Edge, and Edge walked out on Benoit during the title championship change match, and Benoit still won the title. Excuse me, I apologize. So to showcase Benoit was the right thing to do back then. I don't think it was so meaningless as you say, Eric. Sometimes holding two titles is kind of like, okay, really? Like, for example, Arn Anderson holding the TV and the tag team titles in the 80s. Tully Blanchard holding the national and the tag team in the 80s. You know, that was kind of like, that was kind of meaningless. I mean, yeah, the Horsemen were dominant, but let some other guys have the championships. That was kind of silly. Certain things like that I agree with you, but certain things like with Chris Benoit, I don't agree with you. I'm sorry. It's from Matt Leach. What is your opinion? How do you feel about the independent wrestling company JCW, Juggalo Champion Shit Wrestling, run by Insane Clown Posse, and their take on the NWO with the Juggalo World Order, the JWO? I've never seen these guys live, but I hear they're a hell of a lot of fun. Scott Hall actually joined the JWO, which says something about their credibility. One way or the other, take my opinion for what it's worth. I know a lot of guys wear JWO t-shirts to the Indie Feds shows that I go to. They're very popular, and I happen to like, you know, anything that strays from the norm. If they did a show near me, I would totally go see it. If I had the money at the time, that is. I'd love to see these guys. They provide they cater to a certain niche, much like the original ECW did, which will ultimately be their downfall if they want to get any bigger than they are. I don't think they want to get any bigger than they are. I think Jay and Shaggy realize that we're just having fun, fuck it. So I think they're doing well with what they're doing, and I hope they continue to thrive. 12:30. If they're even still around. All right, the book review this week is Bret Hitman Hart's book, My Real Life in the Cartoon World of Wrestling. This is probably, and I hate to leave my loyalty of Mick Foley, but this is probably my favorite wrestling book I've ever read. And that's saying something, because I've been reading the autobiographies now. This is the 10th year, because Mick's came out in 99, and I got that for Christmas that year. This is my favorite one. Bret really kept his journal throughout his entire career and his life even, and really translated it well onto paper. And just very well written. Didn't pull any punches. I thoroughly enjoyed every part of it. I loved hearing his side of Montreal, finally for the first time thoroughly and in depth. Reading. I heard it on the DVD for Bret Hart, but I didn't actually read it. Because on the WWE DVD, they really pulled some punches. They really did, compared to the book. I liked it a lot. A lot. I highly recommend you go out to your nearest bookstore and buy this, please. Even if you don't like reading, it's a big read. It's a thick read. There's a lot covered, but it's very well done. I think you'll find yourself enjoying it. If you like Bret Hart, if you like wrestling in general, you'll enjoy it. It's not a tragic ending like most people believe. It is a very, it's a happy ending. Bret's living life. He's doing well. We may see him at Wrestle Reunion this year. So read the book. Go get it signed. Go talk to Bret and say, Bret, good job. And yeah, there you go. This one is from Keith. Jeff, you recently stated in Talk Wrestling number 79 that you do not buy pay-per-views because of financial reasons and you do not want to waste your money on a poor product. It was recently announced that TNA had a 7,000 buy rate of a pay-per-view. Do you think the pay-per-view buy rates are so far down because of the poor economy or because of the poor product that the mainstream are giving fans? Combination of both. The economy sucks right now. The economy's down. We're all having financial problems. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, WWE and TNA are presenting the product that we're used to, that we've been spoiled on as growing up. I grew up in the golden age. I grew up in the 80s boom and the Attitude Era. So I'm spoiled rotten when it comes to wrestling. I think the wrestling now sucks. Although I do a wrestling show, go figure. I do it. I am a fan of wrestling. I'm a fan of the business. I enjoy being a part of the business. It's just very hard to stomach what they're trying to force down our throats each and every week. I thought TNA was getting better, and they are better than they have been, but they're still not as good as WWE, which is sad because WWE is terrible right now. WWE shouldn't even be, having to compete with TNA, having to compete with them viewers. WWE should be blowing them out of the water. They are the #1 wrestling company in the world. And they don't act like it. Their product is terrible. Their buy rates are down. Their merchandise buys are down. Their TV ratings are down. Well, the guest hosting is a big part of that on Mondays. That's a big part of it. It's a combination of both, Keith, but thank you for the question. Kyle Johnston. My question is, where do you rank the Ministry of Darkness, pre-corporate ministry, that is, among the legendary factions of wrestling? I think the ministry should be right up there with the likes of NWO and DX, since they brought you some ministry members such as Farouk and Bradshaw, aka JBL, and even as far as Ed and Christian, bringing them up when the Brood merged with the ministry. The Ministry was a great faction. However, I won't say they rank up with NWO and DX because they weren't a long-lasting faction. They lasted less than a year, honestly. Undertaker formed the Ministry of Darkness in late 98, and they were gone by the summer of 99. They had broken up the corporate ministry, and the corporation merged with them in the spring of 99, and they had merged, and the ministry was all but gone. Undertaker himself left the WWF in September 99 to heal some injuries. So the Ministry was a great group. I love the Ministry of Darkness. I love the Undertaker when he was with the Ministry, the whole evil, dark, Satan-like persona. But I will say that they're not one of the greatest groups of all time because they simply did not have longevity. All right, today's DVD request comes from Pedro Vargas. Thank you, Pedro. I didn't get exactly the one you wanted, and I'm sorry. You wanted the hardcore edition of this DVD, Mick Foley's Greatest Hits and Misses. I don't have that, and I'm sorry, but I'll do what I can. Great DVD. I love the inclusion of the various matches from WCW, ECW, Smoky Mountain, and WWE. And I liked, on the hardcore edition, they included the match with Randy Orton and some of the other later matches he had in his WWE career. Great stuff overall. I liked Mick Foley's commentary on a lot of these. I liked the presentation where they had Cactus. They had Mankind on the covers. Very cool. Mankind on the cover of the WWE version of the DVD. And they picked good matches. They really did. The only one that they picked that was kind of like, okay, why is this on here, was, well, none of them really, I guess. They were all good matches in their own way. I like the Cactus Jack Sandman match, the Texas Death match, where Sandman got his bell rung and was done for the entire match. More so than usual. We all know how drunk the Sandman gets. We've seen that on XMB. But Sandman was really knocked loose the entire match, and he still fought through and persevered and finished the match with Cactus. Great match. I liked that they did the uncensored version of Cactus versus Big Van Vader from Saturday Night in '93, where Vader just destroyed Cactus's poor face, and you see the uncensored clip on this DVD. If you have not seen it, I recommend you don't even bother renting it. Just go buy the damn thing. Seriously. Great DVD, great presentation, great commentary, alternate commentary by Mick and Jonathan Coachman. It even has his first ever WWE match when it was him and Les Thornton against the Bulldogs. Great vignettes, great promos. The Kane Dewey promos on here, the best promo in the history of the business ever. Kane Dewey's awesome. Watch it. Great DVD. Totally recommend. I know I've recommended a lot of them. Maybe I've been kind of a pansy as far as, they don't suck. This one doesn't suck at all. Good stuff. Goodbye. Alright, this question comes from Marcos Love. What are your thoughts on former WCW superstar Kaz Hayashi, and do you think he would fit in with TNA? Honestly, I think that Kaz is one of the best cruiserweights ever. I'd love to see him in TNA because they push their cruiserweights better than WWE currently does. Even if he went to WWE, it wouldn't be bad to see Chavo versus Kaz Hayashi or Rey Mysterio versus Kaz Hayashi and many more. From what I remember, Kaz Hayashi is currently in Japan and doing very well and has no desire to return to the United States. So I'd like to see him in TNA or WWE, but it's very unlikely. And honestly, with the Cruiserweight situation, WWE the way it is, with no title, there's no reason for Kaz to come back, because Kaz is not going to be pushed as a main event heavyweight. It's not going to. Rey Mysterio is a very, very, rare exception of that. He's pushed as a main eventer type star in the tag team and singles division. So I don't see anybody else really getting that. Chavo is a cruiserweight, yes, but he's also a Guerrero, and he has a Guerrero name, so they do things with him. Kaz would be better off, if he came to the United States, would be better off in TNA, or he could work the X Division. He could work, with AJ, with Joe, with Daniels, with the Brits, with all those guys. And I don't see it happening. But, again, this is the wrestling world, and never say never. But I think he's going to stay exclusive to Japan and make his money there. He's happy. That'll be it for this episode of Talk Wrestling. Again, thank you all for subscribing. We appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, if you're just kind of watching the show willy-nilly, or if you're watching on MySpace, Facebook, or Twitter, go to youtube.com/NoDQCW and subscribe. We need your guys' help. We already surpassed. We are the #1 wrestling-related discussion channel on YouTube, but that's not enough for us. We are greedy sons of bitches. Keep it up. This Sunday, Bound for Glory will be covered by NoDQ.com. Will it be Sting's last night in the business? Will AJ retain the title? Who else knows what's going to happen? I want to go so bad. I wish I could afford it, but it's not in the books this year. We will see you next time on Talk Wrestling after Bound for Glory.